So, yeah, good morning. Welcome to this Leadeth workshop. I'll be your host this morning, Alex. You've all met me. You've all done onboardings with me. And there's a couple of other guys that are going to provide a bit of input today. That's Julia
Hi,
and
everybody.
Mark, who
Hello, everyone.
Mark has kindly kind of offered his copywriting services to some of my Leadeth clients. So why are we here? Well, let's answer this important question. Leadeth version 1's been around for about a year, and then version 2 now is the whole kind of next generation of Leadeth. So there's a lot more features in the software, but ultimately it's so you guys can get more appointments, more bookings, more inquiries, and more of those high quality sales leads. And the way it works is basically we're going to dive into it, do a deep dive into it, and make sure you've got a campaign at the end of this workshop that you can come away with, and it's going to work, and hopefully drive more traffic to your website, whatever you want it to do. So just a quick intro. If I know a couple of you have got Zoom issues at the moment, you might not be able to introduce yourself, but 20 seconds, just maybe introduce yourself, your business, and what kind of automated lead generation you're doing right now, and kind of how you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. That'd be really helpful just to understand maybe how long you've been using the Leadeth tool as well. So maybe we can just go back to gallery view. Do you want to start, AJ?
Hi Alex, yeah, I'm AJ. I run a food and drink PR agency. I've been using Leadeth for a couple of months, I think, and I'm looking to find high, food and drinks businesses that are at a particular stage of growth. So they've probably got at least 10 employees, they're probably turning over $1 million, and they're at a certain stage because we know that what we do really accelerates businesses after that point. So those are the guys we're looking for.
Great, thank you, AJ. Great to have you with us. Tilly, I'm pretty sure you haven't got audio still. So
Tilly could put her intro in the chat.
Yeah, feel free to pop your intro, Tilly. I'm sure others want to hear about what you're doing there. Nagman, if your audio is working, maybe just introduce yourself.
Yep, thanks, Alex. Good to be here. Thanks for the invite. My name is Nagman Khan. I run a company called Valiant and Stone, and we help small to medium limited companies in the UK claim back kind of R&D tax credits, and it's open to all industries. So I've started working with Alex very recently, and I love the Leadeth, the platform. Want to get into it properly and start, leveraging the benefits of it. On 1 to 10, how automated it is, very low. I'd say probably 3. That was 2 or 3 before Leadeth came along. I'm hoping to accelerate that to kind of 8 with Leadeth as much as possible, quite as quickly as possible as well.
Great, thank you, Nagman. And Julia.
Hi, I'm Julia Stock. I am a business consultant and business revolutionary. I do use Leadeth. I've been using it for about a year. So yes, it does generate leads for me, but probably not as automated as it could be. So I'm very excited about version 2. I also found working with a copywriter really helped me to improve what I could do with Leadeth by having copy that actually really talked to the people that we're aiming at. Yeah, so excited about version 2.
Great, thank you. And Mark, I know you're not a Leadeth user as yet, but
No, yet.
Hear about what you're doing.
Yep. So yeah, Mark Tanner. So I am, fundamentally a copywriter. I write copy for some of Alex's clients and for many others, including obviously the Leadeth content for connection messages, but also for email sequences, marketing, or anything really where you are selling your services or products, for deal with products as well, from the written word, whether that be online or offline.
Great, thank you, Mark. And also I noticed we've got Derek Carr's just joined us on the workshop. Derek, do you want to just give us a 20-second intro as to yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Alex, and apologies for the slightly late arrival. Yeah, I'm Derek Carr. I represent the Federation of Small Businesses for the Surrey and North Hampshire area, and I operate and run my own consultancy business in the energy sector, looking after a number of established energy clients. That's where I spent most of my career. So delighted to join you.
Thank you, Derek. And how long have you been using the Leadeth subscription? How long have you been a user?
I think we're probably approaching maybe 10 months, 11 months, something like that, I think.
That's great. Well, thank you to everyone for joining us today. So
Tilly did put her contribution in
did
the
it,
chat.
let them just have a
She
read.
said waving her really grown-up pencil around.
Okay, yeah. So Tilly, she's running her boss's Leadeth account for about 6 months. Legal technology startup that's used the platform to concentrate on both VCs and like-minded lawyers to test their product. It's been successful for her, and a high level of automation, 7 out of 10. That's what Tilly's put. So thanks, Tilly, for that input there. So what are we talking about today? So Leadeth version 2, it's still in beta release, so there's a separate link to access it, which we'll go into in a moment. But the main new features are this thing called a campaign builder. So the campaign builder actually allows us to like somebody, or once we've invited, once we've connected with them, we can do it either before or after. We can actually like their posts, and that can be a specific keyword. So it could be a post within the last 30 days, and it's got the word business in it, or it's got the word food in it. And that really helps to start to build that engagement before you even connected with them. So your profile is going to be flagging up on their dashboard as liking their posts. The other great feature is that we can now also send an email, as opposed to just a LinkedIn message, which stays within the LinkedIn platform. Campaign Builder allows us to add email element. So an outbound email from your email address to the prospect, and that is fantastic because it's what we call an omni-channel approach. It's another way of connecting with them, another touch point. They might not be very responsive on LinkedIn with their messages, so this kind of new step, which allows us to send an outbound email as well as built-in LinkedIn in-mails, which have been around for a while, just makes it so much better to target people. So some really great new features. We've still got group where we can tap into groups and events, and those, when we tap into a LinkedIn group and try to connect and chat to people through a LinkedIn group, those don't actually count as to the 100 messages in a week, which is the LinkedIn limitation. So we're going to dive into all of that and really just help you to connect with people, make more connections, and hopefully, you'll see some really good results when you start to use these campaigns. Great.
The really interesting thing around the link out into email, because research has shown that an awful lot of people actually are more receptive to sales messages via email. They expect to be sold to via email. A lot of people, and you might have noticed this yourself, get almost offended when you try and start a business, salesy conversation with them on LinkedIn. It's like, what did you think I was going to do? So yeah, that's a really exciting feature.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you, Julia, for
already answered that.
So what we're going to do is have a look at these features. I'm going to do a quick overview demo. And then we're just going to go into, what do you want to do? Breakout room first, Julia? Which way round do you want to do it?
Yeah, so we're going to do breakout rooms for 5 minutes. And what we want you to do is to start thinking about the bigger picture first. So Alex has teased these features. And what I want you to start thinking about in your rooms is how those features could potentially apply to your business. Is this something very exciting? So, for example, if you already have a well set up email marketing system, are you excited about the fact that you can now much more seamlessly put your LinkedIn contacts into that? Or is it about being able to really track and almost social media stalk people in an automated manner before we've connected with them. So what's exciting you about this? How do you think you can apply this to your business? So you've got 5 minutes, randomly allocated not to use Outlook.
I know Nagman's using another system.
Okay. Tilly, if you want to put in the chat what system you're using, but it seems to be Outlook is the winner.
Yeah, Tilly's Outlook as well. So a lot of Microsoft users out there, which is great. I mean, obviously LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft, so this can work quite effectively. So I've emailed some instructions to you all kind of half an hour before the webinar, and that basically explains how to set up your email account with Leadeth. And I'm just going to demo it from screen my end. Bear with me. Share screen. There we go. So this is kind of LinkedIn Leadeth version 1 as you know it. This is the dashboard. To access the version 2 of Leadeth, all you have to do is at the top here where it says dashboard, take that out, type in V2 / index.html. That's at the start of that document that I've sent you as well. This then takes you to the beta version of Leadeth. Eventually, probably in about 3 or 4 months, I think that will switch over and everyone will just get version 2. But so at the moment, this is a beta stage, but it's fully active. I've been using it for well over 3-4 months now, and it works quite effectively. As you can see, the graphical user interface here on the dashboard has been uplifted. We can see exactly what's going on. We can see a lot more different types of activity types, a number of post likes and things like that, follow-ups, profile visits, which are new features that we never used to have. And obviously one of the biggest newer features is this social selling index. Obviously this is the LinkedIn algorithm that runs in the background. So you've got an active view of kind of where that's at, you can see those changes in which areas that's changed recently. Mine's been pretty static. If you want to find out a bit more about the social selling index, I'll pop a link in the chat where you can find out more about that and how to improve that. But ultimately, using Leadeth is helping you to improve this. So it's linkedin.com/sales/SSI. Check out that link, and that will give you your current score, or just log into Leadeth version 2 here, and it should fetch the score. So to set up the emails in the system, we run to this button here, which says Profile Settings. And then within Profile Settings, towards the end here, we've got Email Integration. When you click on the email integration, there's a Connect button that comes up, and you can then, it'll ask you, there's an option of 4 things: Outlook, Gmail, Yahoo, and Other. And if you just choose the most of your Outlook, just click on the Outlook button, and that should preload a lot of information for Outlook web servers. Once that's connected, you can click Test the Connection, and then it will come onto this next screen here once it's connected correctly and talking to your mail servers. This is the email signature section. So obviously, as you would have an email signature in your kind of normal software, I've basically just pasted a load of HTML text here, which is my email signature, which is generated by HubSpot. That's what I tend to use. So it actually looks better than that. But normally, if you do it via HTML text, then it kind of stays pretty accurate and stays how it should look. If you want to just keep it simple with plain text, that's fine. You can do that, but it's just not opportunity to get your logo out there, get your brand in front of them, which is quite helpful. So that's how we configure the email integration settings. Okay, so what we'll try and do now is go to a breakout group and just see if we can get you guys to set this up, and give you 5-6 minutes just to see if you can set this up, because ultimately at the end of this session we want this working for you, and we want this integration working so you can start to choose to do a new campaign and push emails on the back end of that campaign, whether it's a new connection you've made with someone. It'd be great to have this feature implemented. So I think Julia's.
Okay, so given that we are running alarmingly on time, it's slightly scary, Alex, what are you selling?
It's so good to do this process. I think it's really helpful because it just makes you think, aha, yeah, it gets you back on focus. So in terms of me, obviously it's the LinkedIn automation is the basically it's a software tool that can automate this process for you. The target markets, I've done this exercise with Julia kind of offline as well, and I kind of highlighted three main key target markets that I would be targeting, and one is business coaches and consultants, because they can kind of pick up the tool, they understand it, and they can apply it to their clients as well, which is really helpful. Another big industry was event promotion and marketing people. So people that run events or hold events, it can be used really effectively for those guys. And I think also the financial services sector is quite a key one, a key market for me. Previously had accountants, bookkeepers using the tool, and it's worked quite effectively for them to build more contacts. And
I am now going to ask Nagman, what are you selling?
Great. So V2 Stone, we target SMEs and business owners, directors, partners, right? People who can make decisions. And our main claim to fame is that there's a HMRC R&D tax credit scheme where for most types of businesses, SMEs, we can claim back a lot of the corporation tax companies have had to pay, or get them a cash refund on stuff they've already paid of the last 2 financial years. And the key thing is that it's contingent only. So if we don't succeed, you don't pay anything, right? So we need business owners quickly who can make a decision and trust us with this. And we're in this campaign, working with Alex, we're targeting manufacturers, engineering, tool making, fabricators, those kinds of companies. But we've done lots of different, exactly. Yeah, but we've done lots of different businesses. Most businesses actually qualify, especially the ones that don't think they do, across, retail, IT, professional services. So that's the hard part, convincing people actually, yes, you do qualify. And the reason is because people, when they hear R&D, they think kind of scientists and lab coats, right? But it's not at all.
Cool. I presume with your target market as well, people need to have been trading for a period of time in order to be interesting.
Minimum 1 year though. Full accounts made up for 1 year only. Yeah, but the last 2 years worth of claims qualify. Last 2 accounting years qualify.
Brilliant. I'm going to move on now. Eric's gone for a cup of tea. AJ. I was coming to you last because you were so together last time round.
I couldn't find the mute button, so I'm not that together. So you were absolutely right. Food and drink, product led, so people who are producing or manufacturing, and restaurants. We do actually offer services to a whole load of other things, but actually those are the two that are easiest for us to make a massive difference. Actually, they're the best ones. Ideally 1 million, but actually what you were saying about cool, exciting, fun and ambitious, actually we have grown some tiny businesses who came to me when they were at like 100 grand turnover, and we've grown them up to 5 million. Not just us, they obviously did quite a lot as well, but we helped. So actually it's probably not just 1 million plus, it's probably a bit smaller than that. But yeah, cool, exciting, fun, ambitious, looking to grow. And what I'm hoping to do is to create conversations, because we offer a variety of different products and services, and until I've talked to them, I don't quite know which one to sell. So I spend the first call I have with them just asking a ton of questions.
Yes, it's the poking, prodding and annoying people part.
Find the pain.
Absolutely. Find the pain, poke it, twist the knife, and then go, oh yeah, I can help. Derek, you're back.
I am, sorry, I had to disappear for a few minutes there, so I missed the last 5 minutes.
Fine. What are you selling? We kind of have worked it out from your background.
It's basically a business support membership, which is the FSB is what I use Leadeth for. So its audience will be any business owner, whether self-employed, limited company, between a sole trader operating on their own and a business employing a maximum of 250 staff. So there's a huge variety. There's 160,000 members across the country and growing. So yeah, it gives a fantastic audience, really, as long as somebody is a business owner.
Fantastic. Okay, and what are you trying to achieve with your LinkedIn activity?
I'm really just trying to achieve ultimately an opportunity to speak to that person and explain what the FSB does, because a lot of people may have heard of it, but very few people know exactly what it does, even though it's been around 47 years.
Yes, it's kind of FSB. Oh, must I be a grown up? Yes,
yeah, and
yes, you
usually
must.
once somebody actually is aware, they kind of go, generally, there's quite a wow factor. I mean, it's not the most exciting thing in the world by any means I'm describing here, but when you actually kind of work out what you get for your kind of value and so forth, as a business owner, you go, yeah, I think that sounds pretty sensible to me.
Absolutely. Yes, you need us in a sensible mood, not in a wild and wacky mood.
I don't mind.
Okay.
Whichever mood is fine, Julia.
So in terms of me, I'm selling business support, so training, coaching, consultancy. My target market is, I love working with little businesses, the teeny tiny tiddlers. So it's ambitious business owners who want to do mad things like triple in size in the next 2 years. I love those people. In terms of my LinkedIn activity, again, similar to AJ, there's so much that I can do to support businesses. It's about beginning that conversation and then looking at how you can then tailor in what I can help them with in terms of where their pain points are. So some similarities. Right, Alex, are you ready for stage 2 of this demonstration?
Here we go. So I'm just going to dive back into the Leadeth version 2 again. Hopefully you can all see the screen there, which I've shared. So I'm in my own account. I've got several campaigns already set up, but what I'm going to do is just create a brand new campaign builder and just show you the whole process of how it goes. I've not produced any instructions for this. Obviously we're recording the video and we'll make that available to you at the end of the session so you can refer to it. But we just want to give you a bit more confidence around this campaign builder feature. So we can dive in, we go to campaigns, and you can see the old campaigns come up there. So we used to have a messenger campaign, which used to be what we would target first degree connections, so people we were already connected with. And then we used to have what we call a connector campaign, which is where we had that invite step and then a follow-up message. And that was, that did its job, served its purpose, but kind of not fit for purpose in this day and age now, where we can utilize email outreach, emails, and much more, I like to call it conditional logic within a campaign. So to start a new campaign, we're going to choose Add Campaign, and we've got a choice here. Ignore this recovery campaign. That's kind of just for collecting a list of people from an existing campaign that you've got in, so we don't tend to use that too much. But down here, if you scroll down, you've got Campaign Builder, and that's going to be the new one that we're going to focus on today. So click Create Campaign. Give it a name. So I'm going to call mine just a test campaign. Some people like to put the date they create the campaign in there as well. It's entirely up to you. And click Next. So the next screen is we've got a few we can basically create templates of these funnel campaigns, so we can reuse them at another time, or if we've got other people within the organization who want to use them, they can just dive in and use a pre-made template. So I've actually created one because I had a lot of FSB MAs on board, like Derek, so this became available as a template campaign. But we're going to continue without a template, and we're just going to start from scratch. If there's any questions as we go along, please do ask. So previously we used to have 3 boxes on this screen, the step screen, and there'll be an invitation message and a series of follow-up messages. But now what we can do is we can actually visualize what we're doing within a campaign. Some people call it a funnel, a process, a flow, whatever you want to call it. But this is how I tend to build out my campaigns for clients, and it's worked fairly effectively. So feel free to take a screenshot or refer to this video later on. So the first thing we do is we implement these stages here. So these are the actions that we do. And then the bottom half are what we call the conditions. Okay, so only certain conditions work with certain actions. So there's it's kind of understanding how this works, and hopefully you'll get a grasp of this now. So it all starts at the top here. This is where the target market that we've identified, we put them into the top of this funnel here. We allocate them using our search once we've added them from LinkedIn or Sales Navigator. And we basically just have to join these lovely dots like that. And you can spread these out if you're going to have a smaller campaign. My campaigns are quite big, so I kind of make sure these are quite close to each other. And then the first action here is visit profile. So what this is going to do is visit that person's profile on LinkedIn. Okay, so it's important that you once you've done your campaign, click that little save button there. Otherwise, it kind of forgets it, and it can be a bit frustrating when you've built out a really long campaign. So the settings for the visit profile appear on the right hand side here, and that's time delay. So basically, once they get entered to that campaign, how soon do you want to visit their profile? So I like to have it either set on immediately or very quickly. Normally a campaign takes a couple of hours. From adding a search, it takes a couple of hours for it to get going. So the next stage, once we've visited their profile, we could say, right, so the beauty of the builder campaigns is we can add first degree connections, so people we're already connected to, which is great because that's combining it's combining the old classic messenger campaign and the traditional connector campaign into one thing. So we're going to use an if condition. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the if connected statement there. So once we've visited their profile, we drop down to this if connected. Okay, and there's a default delay of 1 day. I tend to just leave it on the default. That works really effectively. Okay, so what this means is if we are connected to them, if we are a first degree connection with this person, and then we've got a couple of outcomes, either yes or no. So if we are connected to them, we could do, let's go for a like their post, because obviously we're connected with them. We're going to go for a like post. So we join that up. And now what happens is we can set again a time delay. So you might want it pretty quick, an hour after you've looked at their profile, a day after you've connected with them, or we could go immediately. So if we're connected with them after that day, then immediately we're going to like a post that they've done. So the last engagement, so most people, if they're pretty active on LinkedIn, are going to have a post there in the last 30 days. Anything beyond that probably won't appear on their feed so much. So make sure it's a kind of recent post, but you can extend that if you wanted to. What we can do here is set a minimal number of likes. Obviously, if it's just only got 1 like or 2 likes, it might be something a bit controversial that you don't want to do. So I might say 4 likes, a minimum number of 4 likes on their post. Okay, and then this is where we can enter keywords. So this condition is not required, but you can do it if you want to just like more relevant content. So again, it's looking at those target markets, thinking about what might they be writing about. So certainly a business coach or a consultant, the word business might be a good word for them. Or we can use a comma and just put in a string of keywords there if we want to. So for this example, we'll just put the word business in, and maybe London. So if they're in London, it might flag up something to do with London as well. So that's how we do a like post. Okay, so once we've liked their post, have a think about, they're already an existing user, so maybe let's send them a message via LinkedIn. We've been connected with them for we don't know how long, but we could have been connected with them for some years and not touched base with them. So there's just so many opportunities. People that are connecting using Leadeth have kind of brought in hundreds and hundreds of users, and they're now following them on LinkedIn. So they're actively on their LinkedIn, in their LinkedIn network, but they neglect that, and it's a real shame really, because they could actually be viable leads, viable customers to do good business with. So it's always good to go back to those old prospects. So a follow-up message here would work really well, and this is where you use the talents of like Mark or my Pro Plan, which utilizes Mark to then script something really good, really engaging with that specific target market, building on kind of using these first name, last name, job title, company name, or a dynamic placeholder. So a dynamic placeholder is where you custom input extra information specifically to that person. So if you want a demo of that later, I can show you that. But we've also got a partnership with Hyperize. Hyperize is a third-party platform which basically you can personalize images. So here's a couple of examples that I've previously used. So it'll populate it with their name. So it might say, "Hi Bob, looking for a sales spike and it might put their company name in there for ABC Limited like this. And it also populates it with a company logo off their LinkedIn profile page. So what we find is when you really personalize this stuff, that's when you get a lot more interaction, a lot more connections with people. So just a few ideas there for you. So if we're not connected with them, then the most logical step would be to kind of send a connection request. So on the other side, what we can do is build out a connection request there. And once you've sent a connection request, you need to see again if you're connected with them. And obviously you can add an unlimited amount of stages within your funnel. So once that connection request message, make sure you fill it out here with a body. Obviously, if you're trying to connect with them the second time round, so if the connection request has lapsed after 60 days or 30 days and they've not accepted, you can actually resend that connection request here. But LinkedIn only allow you 115 characters on that second attempt. So it's a much shorter message for the alternative body. So populate those there. And then if we're connected again, you might want a follow-up message saying, "Thanks for connecting." And this is where we can start to utilize emails in a campaign as well. So once they've had that initial follow-up message, we can actually check if they've got an email on their profile. So we use this statement here, if email exists. Okay, so now if they've got an email on their LinkedIn profile, we can actually send them an email. So we utilize that email feature there. Okay, and we drag that down to the email. And again, this is very similar.
Could you slow down a tiny bit, Alex? Sorry. So
Sorry. Yeah.
the last three, I just got completely lost there. So if we do the connection request.
If we're now connected with them, so yeah, if we're connected, we did the connection request, we're waiting a day, and if we're now connected with them a day later, we can then send this follow-up message, and then we can send an email. So we're actually saying, right, do they have an email on their profile, linked to their profile? If they I've found probably about 60% of people, maybe more, out of my contacts actually share their email publicly on the LinkedIn network. So sometimes it's a personal email. That's one thing to watch out for, because obviously it could get caught up in spam quite easily. But this is this new outbound email feature. So we're basically sending an email out on the back of a connection request here. Again, we can specify the time delay. So you might want to give it a week. So we can have a 7-day delay. Give it a subject line, whatever you want to input there in your subject line, and then we can enter that email body. And don't forget, if you've set up the email configuration, you would have a footer that gets added to that signature would get added onto the bottom of the body of the email. Okay, and that's how we do an email. There's also another feature called Open InMail. So basically it's like an email, but it stays within the LinkedIn platform. And if you're a Sales Navigator user, you're probably familiar with InMails. That's where you can just send a message to someone without being connected to them yet. And it works in a very similar way. You can say, right, if they've got open InMail, we'll try and send them a message. Okay, so that's basically the nuts and bolts of how it works. Obviously, if you want to delete a step, you just hit the bin. You can remove a step. You can put in a like post wherever you want in the flow again. So if you want another like, this one, skill endorsement. So it might be something quite specific, or you've built up a relationship with a lot of people, and you just want to endorse someone for a certain skill. You can do that here as well. Yeah, so the skill endorsement, I think you can only do it if you're connected with them. So obviously you can't endorse someone who you're not connected with. So if it's coming up with an error, just try and put it on the other side and it will probably work okay. So it's a bit of trial and error, but once you start to build out this funnel, the next stage is to make it live. So once you've saved it, so if I save it here, it says please connect all nodes. There's an error. I just need to get rid of that loose one. And sometimes when you drag them across here, they sit kind of behind the, they sit out the way here. So just make sure you zoom out and delete any kind of orphan actions in case you see that message. But if it's worked, it'll all go green and you can save that successfully. So to make this campaign live, once you've populated it, I mean, because I've not put in an email subject line and an email body text, I think this is red, or it's because, yeah. So that's why that one was highlighted red, just because it's just reminding you to put content in there. To turn this on, we go back to the settings screen, and it's a bit like the old version 1 of Leadeth. We just click the status, and that will turn it on. As soon as you turn a builder campaign to on or live, you are unable to move these steps about. Okay, you can actually change the content of the step, so the message, you can actually change that, but the actual order of the funnel, it won't let you change it, because obviously if some people are already starting to work through that funnel, the system just would get a bit confused if there was a missing step. So if you wanted to change the actual flow of this, I would advise going back to campaigns. Just click save here, go back to campaigns, and using the copy feature. So test campaign and choose copy, and then that will create a brand new campaign identical to what you're doing, and then you can add in the extra steps. So hopefully that's kind of just introduced you to some of the new features that we can utilize. And yeah, have fun starting to build these campaigns. We're going to go out into breakout room now, and so you can just have a look at those in a bit of detail and just start to kind of think about what that funnel might look like for you.
Okay.